It makes it much more challenging. Okay, so over here we're going to do congruent angles. So just label this congruent angles. Congruent angles would be angles with the same angle measure. So for example, whatever this angle measure is on a congruent angle, you would have the exact same angle measure. Now congruent angles can be kind of in a different orientation. They could be churned. As long as they have the same angle measure, then they are congruent. Also, the rays could be different lengths because a ray just goes on forever and ever, and no matter how you draw it, it's still going to go on forever and ever. So if these ray lengths aren't exactly the same, that's okay. What we're looking for is for the angle to be the same. So here we're going to do our first example right here. They already drew ray D. We're going to have a congruent angle to angle A. So first step is going to be to draw an arc from A that goes through both of those rays. So it doesn't matter which distance, but you're going to use this distance again, so make sure to keep the measurement. But we're going to draw an arc through both rays like this. Yes, Cameron. Yeah, it's at 2 o'clock. I'll put the recording up. Okay, so there's an arc from A, and then take that same measurement, and from D, make the same exact arc. This is point B and point C. So all I did is A, I made an arc that went through both rays, took the same measurement, and made that same arc from D. Then, are you ready for the next step? Next step is to measure from B to C and make an arc like this on C. So measure from B to C and make a little mark on C. And then that same measurement, put it on this one. So we measured from B to C, made an arc on C, then took that same measurement, put it on this point, and crossed it. And then the last step is to connect your dots. This one was kind of crowded. As you can see, it's kind of on top of each other. But the next ones we have more space. Okay, so number one, we have an angle. We need to construct a congruent angle to this one over here. We have angle A. We're going to make angle D over here. So point D. Use a straight edge, whether it be your ID. Post-it notes work well for me. And I'm just going to draw a ray from point D. So starting with ray D. Then I'm going to take my compass, put it on A. The measurement doesn't matter as long as it'll cross both rays. So I'm just making an arc that'll cross both rays. Then keeping that same measurement, I'm going to go to D and make that same exact arc. And I'm using points here and labeling those points because it helps for instruction. I can easily say measure B to C. But normally when you see constructions, you won't see all the points labeled, at least. And then next step is to measure B to C and make a mark on C. And then take that same measurement, put it here, and make the same mark. Here. And then the last step, connect the dots. And now you have a congruent angle to your original. Next, number two, same process. Start start with point D, make a ray, yep, sorry. Then on point A, you're going to draw an arc that crosses both rays. So make an arc, and then from D, make that same exact arc. Next step is measure from B to C, make a mark, and then put it here and make the same mark. I'm going to flip to the next page. The next page is continuing to practice this. So if you're still trying to get the hang of congruent angles, that's okay. We have more practice right here. So for these four, we're going to make congruent angles to the originals, starting with point D. Make a ray. Then from point A, I'm going to draw an arc that passes both of those rays. And from D, make that same arc. No, okay. Next step, measure from B to C, make the same mark there. There we go. Okay, point D. Remember, congruent angles don't have the same orientation. This one kind of has a weird orientation. It doesn't matter which way I do it. So from A, make my arc, make the same arc from D. Then measure this distance. And connect the dots. So as you can see, I'm kind of dropping some of the points that I was labeling in the beginning. That's because normally you won't see the points labeled. There we go. Okay, I'm going to walk around and see how you're doing.